Hey guys, it's Tatiana. I'm ready to kill somebody at Facebook because this is the third time I'm trying to do this Facebook Live video and it keeps cutting me off even though I have much faster internet than I have anywhere else. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about what's going on with me and hopefully Facebook won't kick me out of here. This is my first time doing a Facebook Live without the exception of the two previously failed attempts 5 minutes ago. I'm trying to do these Tatiana at 12 on Tuesdays series, especially during the crowdfunding campaign that's going on. So I don't know. This is it. It's 12:12 right now in New York. It's 9:12 here in California, which is where I am. So I'm here in, oh gosh, you know what, this thing is like, no, put on a mask and give yourself a fun look. Like, no, I don't want to be interrupted with your nonsense, Facebook. God, I hate this platform. Sorry. Just like frustrated with them. But anyway, so yeah, I wanted to give you guys an update. I'm here in Los Angeles right now. Tomorrow I'm leaving for Acapulco. So if you guys haven't gotten your tickets yet, you can use my coupon code Tatiana and you could save 10%. But I'm assuming that anybody who is going to randomly go to Mexico has already made those decisions by now. So everything has been going pretty well. I started my TatianaCoin campaign on February 9th, which to me is this, you know, great big coming out, like, thing, and some of you guys have gotten some messages from me on Facebook, so I've been sending them out, kind of informing people about it directly. We've raised over $3,500 right now, which is great. Our goal is $15,000, so I'm getting a little bit nervous that we're not going to reach that goal, to be honest, but I'm hoping that that will change. In the meantime, I did a presentation of what this concept is when I was down in Florida, in Fort Lauderdale, when we announced. And basically I walked people through the token.fm platform and tokenly.com, which are sort of a result of Adam B. Levine from Let's Talk Bitcoin's efforts to provide utility for artist tokens. Now, I know some of you guys don't know what an artist token is, and a lot of you don't know even what Bitcoin is, nor do you care. I know that when I heard about Bitcoin, I wanted the person to not tell me any more about it. But I don't know. I think that I think it's much more encouraging than a lot of the other solutions that we have in terms of people who are living free or trying to live more free. I think, you know, it would behoove everyone to learn about it. Me and Stephanie Murphy, you may know, she does a lot of voiceover work. She also has a really great podcast called Sex and Science Hour with Brian Sovereign, who I also love at Sovereign Tech. We did a Bitcoin 101 video series, and you can learn all about it there. I also did an Economics 101 video series with Bob Murphy. So if you guys have any leftist friends that you want to try and build into the fold, or I don't know, I shouldn't call them leftist friends because that's not right. I don't know. I think a lot of times there's a lot of disagreements between people and it's really based in economics. It's not because one person is bad and they want something bad for society. I just don't know if people are really aware of how economic cycles work and stuff like that. So anyway, we did an Econ 101 and that was really fun. What else is going on? So yeah, tomorrow I leave for Mexico. I went to San Francisco. I had this really great dinner, met with a lot of people. Tonight I'm going to go and meet with some other people, trying to convince Hollywood that it should stop being the cesspool that it is. No, I'm just kidding. I think that, you know, one of the reasons why I did TatianaCoin, which just to give you guys a little bit of background on what TatianaCoin is. So TatianaCoin is the first ever artist cryptocurrency. And what I was trying to solve was two problems. So artists don't have fans, they don't have funding, right? How do they make sure that they're not playing to 4 people? And how do they make sure that they can actually afford to record? You know, everybody thinks it's so glamorous to be an artist. I can't even tell you how many tears have been shed as an artist, personally and other artists. Like, our lives are horrible. And we do it because of you guys, right? We want to kind of connect with humanity. And so what we tried to do with artist coins was to bridge that gap, right? Take out the middleman. So we used to have crowdfunding, where crowdfunding would be, okay, you donate $50, you get a fixed item, maybe a t-shirt. And if you don't like the t-shirt, well, tough luck. You're basically stuck with it. So now when people buy Tatiana coins, instead they get a digital gift certificate and they can spend it in my store however they want. So they don't have to get the t-shirt. They can get something in 3 months, but they still have shown support to me. And they can also sell those Tatiana coins to somebody else. They can maybe, if you buy $50 worth, you can send $10 worth to everybody. And that's sort of a way of giving fans back something that's a little bit more valuable than, some tchotchke. And I like the fact that it removes the middleman, because a lot of times the record label is the one who's providing the funding. And if a record label is providing funding for an artist, they're going to have their own agenda. They're not going to want you to say things that are controversial unless it's like, oh, party. Yes, it's an appropriate topic to talk about in music. But otherwise, anything of more depth, they don't really care for that. And to a certain extent, I understand that, because they need to make a return on their investment. But this way, artists are being funded by their fans directly. Their fans are basically essentially acting as the bank, but they're hopefully getting something back that they like and that they find useful. The other thing that I liked was, or the other aspect was the fans thing. So when I first heard about Kickstarter, Friendster or MySpace, I was all excited because I'm a broke artist. I need to make fans, right? And I would build up these audiences. But the problem is that after you build up that audience, you go to a different platform. You don't own that relationship. So when Friendster went out of style, I had to start all over again at MySpace. And now here we are in Facebook. Control self from saying anything bad on this platform. But Facebook, if any of you guys have pages and stuff, they only show you posts from the same old people all the time. They don't show you a nice even, comparison of all different kinds of viewpoints. It's like an echo chamber and then a couple people in there to piss you off so you can kind of rage type and, get angry at people. And when I first started doing Ron Paul stuff, I made an investment, which I considered to be in my career, and I was paying, I don't know, like 20 cents a click to put up ads. And I thought, okay, 20 cents per customer is a good acquisition cost. Like, I can afford that. But then when I start posting on Facebook now, even though I have 6,300 likes on my Tatiana Moroz Music Facebook fan page thing, 30 people see it, 50 people see it. So Facebook keeps trying to extract more resources out of me, which I think is not cool. Then sometimes they'll charge you to message me directly, which is also not cool. So, these are very frustrating situations. I see people are writing and I'm confused because this is my first time doing it and I'm trying to explain a lot of stuff. And I don't know how I can get back to you guys, so I'm sorry I suck at this so far. So anyway, the point is that you don't own that relationship. You're getting spied on. You're getting advertised to. You're getting your brain manipulated because Facebook only shows you certain things, right, to put you in a mood. I mean, they did some big experiment where they basically tried to put everybody in a bad mood and nobody got paid for that experiment. So I don't know what's going on there. So what we created was the Token.fm platform, which I think of it as a little bit more of an inverted Spotify and inverted Facebook, because it has the functionality of a social media site in terms of being able to message and to connect with people directly. People can message me directly. They know that it's me. They can support me. They can buy stuff in my store, but then they could also interact with each other, right? So that's really important because we're trying to build a different kind of community. Some guy is writing me and it's blocking my screen. Okay. So anyway, what we also did was at Tokenly is, okay, so people go, they message with you, there's like that social component. But I don't know if you guys have seen this movie called Downloaded by Alex Winter. It's a really great movie. And I didn't use Napster because I can't figure out how to use Napster. But one of the things that I found compelling about the film was the fact that they were using Napster in order to connect with people. It wasn't about sharing music illegally. It was about that kind of curation, right? So people ask me, they say, oh, what music do you listen to? Well, I listen to music from 50 years ago because I don't have time to go looking around for new music. And I know that on Pandora and stuff, you can do playlists based on what you liked before. But just because I like Ryan Adams doesn't mean that I need every, singer-songwriter dude on earth playing for me over and over again. It's not interesting to me. I like the idea of curation. So in this platform, now you're engaging with other fans of other kinds of music. When you had a record, right, back in the day, you would buy a record and then you could lend it to your friend, you could sell it back to the record store. You actually owned that, right? Whereas now, if you buy music on iTunes, you're really buying a... Ryan Adams is boring. Shut up, Diana. I love Ryan Adams. Not Brian, Ryan. I did see that you spelled it right. So anyway, artists have... when you buy music on iTunes, you can't share that with your friend because you're only the only person allowed to play it, which sucks, right? It's not good for a fan. And so that incentivizes people to do streaming. But when you do streaming, did you guys know this? So when you stream a song a million times on one of these major platforms, you know, Apple Music or like, I don't know, Spotify, Pandora, artists are only getting 0.00001 penny per play. So for a million times, if your song is streamed a million times on one of these platforms, an artist gets $1,000. So I don't know if y'all know how much it costs to make music, but $1,000 is enough to record maybe one song in like a getaway if you have a million friends that are really good at engineering that you're basically, you know, paying a pittance to. It's super expensive. So that model is not good. It's not good for the fans because you guys aren't getting more music. It's not good for the artists because we're starving to death and getting mad. So we are using the finite quality of cryptocurrency, right? Because cryptocurrency is something that's secured. You know what it is. Like, you can see it. It's not just this thing. And because it's a finite item, which right now we have, you know, with digital stuff, it's just infinite, right? There's no scarcity. We've created album tokens. So that means that you can buy an album token and you can lend it to somebody, you can rent it out and make money, or you can sell it to somebody. So you actually own that again, which I think is an incredible innovation. And I think that between that and community building, that's kind of where we can potentially little by little wrestle the power away from the existing infrastructures. Another thing with, so I funded Tatiana, you know, I sold TatianaCoin a while ago, back in 2014 when we first started it, and I funded my album. Now, there's other costs associated with the album, which is why I'm raising money now, you know, mastering, distribution, printing, promotion, and I'm also doing a tour where I'm going around talking to people about this stuff. And one of the things that I'm talking about is free speech for artists, right? If you work at a bank, or if you work for the man, you know, I totally get that, right? Because people need to feed themselves. But, you know, we need dissenting voices, and artists are traditionally the ones that can provide that without any kind of problem, right? You know, they're like the most allowed to say controversial things, and I think that's how we progress with culture. So for my album, to sort of illustrate that point, I know that a lot of you are familiar with Ross Ulbricht, but Ross Ulbricht went to prison for double life plus 40 years for all nonviolent crimes for basically creating a website, which is insane, obviously, right? It's a free market website, completely maligned in the media. I recommend watching Deep Web or going to freeross.org, and you can learn more about it. But I've become very good friends with Lynn and Callie and the whole family, and Ross as well, and I've gone to visit him. And Ross is such an incredible person. I was drawing him little pictures because I thought that would cheer him up in the most miserable place on earth, i.e. jail. And for my birthday, he sent me a picture of myself. He drew me. And so for this album, I decided to use that album cover because I think that that can be something that illustrates the point that if I was on a record label, I wouldn't be able to take this controversial position. I wouldn't be able to have essentially a political prisoner doing the album cover, right? Because that's too controversial. And I think that we need to push the envelope. So if you guys go to TatianaMoroz.com, there's a video and you'll see the artwork. It's really, really beautiful. And I wanted to, hi Pam, I wanted to read you guys something that Ross had written that I think is really interesting and gives you a little peek into his life. Because today I'm releasing on YouTube a live version of me singing The Silk Road, so you guys can kind of get that. The full album, full band version, that'll be out March 31st. You know, you can't really get that. The only single so far that we've released is the Bitcoin jingle, which you can also find on my site. I would appreciate the support. But let me read you this thing from Ross, because I think it really illustrates who I'm fighting for, you know, and why I think this is so important. You know, I loved Cat Stevens when I was a kid. I need more music that has meaning. And I think that people out there also feel the same way. Oh, look, somebody's writing really nice things. Okay, hi guys. All right. So this is something I'm reading off of the freeross.org site. And this is something that Ross sent as a letter to the family. And it starts out, it's a little bit long, but I think that you guys will find it as meaningful as I do. By William B. Henley. It's a poem that he opens up with and then he reflects on it. Invictus by William B. Henley, 1875. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeoning of chance, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond the place of wrath and tears, looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. So now we go on to his reflections on this. Sorry, I think it's such a beautiful poem and very apropos in this case. And this is what he writes. It struck a chord with me, and I'm currently committing it to memory. I share it with you because it touches on an important aspect of my imprisonment that has helped me grow and get stronger. The scope of my life became very narrow once I was locked up. My contact with the outside was limited to an hour visit each week, 300 phone minutes, letters, and whatever was on TV and the radio. My diet was, well, let's just say it's not like what I'd like it to be. And my social circle became the 99 other prisoners in my unit and a handful of regular guards. This was shocking on a visceral level, like being thrown in an ice bath. The contrast with freedom was especially intense because I spent the first 6 weeks in different levels of isolation. Once I'd been released from solitary into the general population and somewhat settled into my new reality, the war within truly began. It started with boredom. There were very few things to distract me during the many hours of the day. I did what I could to prepare for my defense. I played ping pong for hours on end. I had textbooks sent in to study. I read several books a month. I took up yoga, and I practiced diligently for months and months. Eventually, the distractions wore thin, and a kind of subtle panic set in. This was a crossroad I've seen many prisoners reach. Some retreat towards stronger distractions, like gambling. It gives them something to chase, something to occupy and drive them. Others break and become miserable. There's another route I've seen some men take in here, and I've done my best to emulate them. The first who taught me how to do time had spent 12 years in maximum security penitentiaries. I noticed he was never in a rush. Crossing his path could turn into an hour-long conversation about anything, either serious or funny, but never dull. He taught me acceptance. You have to confront the horror of your situation. Come to grips with it and accept where you're at, he said to me one day as we sat chatting in his cell. Give yourself a pass for a few days, maybe a week. Don't worry about anything else and just feel the sadness, the fear, the loss. But don't wallow in it for too long. Get back to your yoga and the rest of your routine when you're done. That was a turning point for me and set me on the path of acceptance and growth. By accepting my circumstances, I've come to find myself in a position where I no longer worry about when or if I'll get out or what I'm missing out on. I found that within my constraints, there is still opportunity for my soul to flourish. With no point of reference except for my fading memories of freedom, I can be thankful for the life I have and love it. My neighbors look at me like I'm crazy sometimes or assume I'm being sarcastic when I talk like this. But it's the only way to win the most important battle of all, to make your soul unconquerable. This hit home recently when I was locked in with my last cellmate. The facility I'm in is widely regarded as one of the most constrained and difficult to live in. I realized even if I spend the rest of my life behind bars, as I've been sentenced to do, I'll never be worse off than right now. I got this, I thought. No matter what happens, I can get through it and come out better on the other side. I looked over at my cellmate, who was looking kind of bored, and a silly impulse hit me. I kneeled next to him where he lay on his bunk and held his gaze in mock seriousness. "We got this," I whispered intently. "What?" he replied. "We got this. Whatever happens, bro, we got this." "Yeah, we got this," he said, playing along, pumping his fists in the air. We kept repeating the phrase to each other, getting louder and more boisterous until he, in his dry, humorous way, said, "You're weird," and lay back down with his book. I guess why I'm telling you all of this is because I want you to remember, or realize if you never have, that no matter what life has thrown your way, the deepest, most important part of you can't be broken. It can't be taken. And you can always find ways to be thankful, to love, and to be loved. That to me is an incredible statement. I am blindsided by the amazing bravery, and I believe that this is something that we're all capable of. Ross himself is an exceptional young man, but he's also been very blessed, even though that's hard to believe with the situation that he has. My point is that Ross has his mom going out, and he has a team of all of you that are trying to help him. But there are many, many people in prison for nonviolent crimes for dozens of years for like a joint. You know, my friend Kingsley Edwards, his father went to jail for a teaspoon of cocaine in the 80s. For 40 years, he's still rotting in there. These people, they don't have a voice. I plan on being that voice for them. And I hope that other people join the chorus because I think it's really important. And this really drives home the need for alternatives for artists because we all need to basically stand up for the less fortunate. And I don't know, this is my attempt. So I wanted you guys to hear that and to see what was going on and share with you what's happening. I'll be in Acapulco. I'm sorry that I'm not more responsive to people writing messages. It's a little bit disorienting to be doing Facebook Live, but I'll be posting a new update Tuesdays at 12 with Tatiana. So I'll be doing that at Eastern time, no matter where I am. So it's actually 9:30 right now here in LA. If you guys like what I'm doing, please support me. Go to TatianaMoroz.com, donate to the campaign, buy your Tatiana coins. And if you run into any problems, please tell me because it's a really new platform. Token.fm isn't really launching until the end of next month. So we're still running into a couple weird things and stuff. If you guys like my music, this new record is going to kill. You guys are going to love it. And I hope that you all, check out the new Bitcoin jingle. I have a new single coming out next weekend called Safe With You. Yeah, that's it. I guess. I don't know. Thank you so much all for watching and joining me on my initial Facebook Live. And please go to TatianaMoroz.com to find out more. Later on today, this is going to be super cool. So I'm doing an episode today with Jeffrey Tucker, Justin Coletti, and John Light about IP and artists. So I think that's going to be really interesting. Hope you guys like it. Bye. Mwah. Thanks. Oh, wait. How do I turn this off? Finish.